I had been married to Fong Yuani for 10 years, and I always thought we had a deep and loving relationship. Who would have thought he'd volunteer to lead the army just to save his childhood sweetheart? He even pushed our son into a hail of enemy arrows on the battlefield for her. Our son died a brutal death, and he came back with that woman. Lu Huali, you can always have another child. You should try to get along with Rualing from now on. I died of rage and heartbreak. When I opened my eyes again, I swore they would pay with their lives.
1.
Lu Huali, stop being unreasonable. Lin Rualing went as a stand-in princess for a peace marriage. She's a hero of our country. Now that the Zhou kingdom has fallen and she's been captured by barbarians, of course I have to rescue her. I owe her. And so do you. I froze for a moment, then looked again at that face I had grown to hate. Fong Yuani stood in front of me, still spouting his self-righteous nonsense when I didn't respond. In my past life, I was completely fooled by that righteous facade of his. Lin Rualing had volunteered to act as a stand-in princess for a political marriage, which bought Shang dynasty temporary peace. Naturally, I admired a woman like that. And when Fong Yuani offered to take over her military post and lead the army, I had no objections. But he insisted on taking our son along, who had just reached adulthood. Our son was a scholar, not a soldier. He had never trained for war. On the battlefield, blades and arrows know no mercy. One wrong move, and you're dead. But Fong Yuani swore to me that he'd only bring our son along to earn some symbolic military merit, that he wouldn't be in any danger. And our son, he had already been swept up by the future Fong Yuani painted for him. He was eager to go. I couldn't persuade him otherwise. So, in the end, I agreed. But my moment of weakness cost me my child. He died under a storm of enemy arrows. And Lin Rualing came into our home, into my place, cozying up to Fong Yuani like she belonged there. When it came to our son's death, Fong Yuani just said he was too eager for glory and rushed into battle, that he had only himself to blame. He was completely heartless. He didn't even bring our son's body back to the capital, just buried him somewhere hastily. I never even saw my son's face one last time. But to Lin Rualing, his childhood sweetheart, he was full of affection and care. He spoiled her endlessly, afraid I might mistreat her. Lu Huali, you can always have another child. You should get along with Lin Rualing. And after using the Lu family's influence to climb to the peak of power, he wanted to throw me aside, demote his wife to concubine. They drove me to my death. But now that I've been given another chance at life, I won't fall for his lies again. They schemed against me for a lifetime. This time, I'll make sure they meet a miserable end. Fong Yuani loved sacrificing others for Lin Rualing. Well, not anymore. If he loves her so much, then he can be the one to sacrifice. I won't let him drag anyone else down. What exactly do I owe Lin Rualing? Yes, I once respected her for stepping in as a stand-in princess. But that doesn't mean I owe her anything. Our defeat in the war wasn't because our generals were incompetent or our soldiers were cowards. Shang had powerful troops, skilled commanders, and plenty of supplies. It was the emperor. He insisted on leading the army himself. But he was mediocre at best, always wanting to give orders and play strategist. He threw the entire command into chaos. That's what led to our loss. We could have launched a counterattack, but he got scared and just wanted people to protect him while he ran. That's why things turned out the way they did. When the enemy made their outrageous demand, even though many officials at court wanted to keep fighting, the emperor didn't hesitate. He ignored the late emperor's order forbidding royal princesses from marrying abroad and agreed to their terms. But he didn't have many children. The only princess he had was the empress's legitimate daughter. Sending a legitimate royal princess to marry a minor kingdom would have been a huge disgrace to Shang dynasty. So Lin Rualing stepped up and volunteered. No matter how you look at it, this wasn't my fault. Rualing brought peace by marrying into another nation. Everyone in Shang owes her. You're so mean and petty. Nothing like Rualing's grace and selflessness. Maybe I'm not as noble as Lin Rualing, I said, but as a daughter of the Lu family, I won't let you insult me like this. Back then, you gave up on Lin Ruoling, mere fifth-rank official's daughter, and begged to marry me, the legitimate daughter of the Liu family from Fanyang. Wasn't it because of my family's prestige? If you despise me so much, why don't you divorce me? Would Fong Yuanyi dare? You ignorant woman. You're impossible. I must save Ruoling. I'll go request a royal decree tomorrow. Fong Yuanyi had his own selfish reasons but couldn't say them aloud, so he blamed me instead. That's the kind of man he is. He wants to climb higher, but can't give up the advantages my family gives him. At the same time, he can't let go of his beloved childhood sweetheart. He wants everything. And it was that selfishness that got me and our son killed. This time, the Fong family will pay for everything.
2.
During a short nap, I had a nightmare. I saw how my son died. In the dream, Fong Yuanyi pushed our son in front of an arrow to shield Lin Ruoling. So, this is what he meant by their shared merit. For the sake of the woman he loves, he sacrificed his own flesh and blood. Is he even human? I woke up in a panic and immediately asked, "Where's Shiai's?" "Madam, young master went on a spring outing with a friend." "Madam, you look pale. Are you feeling unwell?" Chuntao looked at me with concern. "I'm fine. When Shiai's gets back, tell him to come see me. Also, Chuntao, I need you to go buy a few things for me." Fong Yuanyi even abandoned his own son, only because he was still young and thought he had time. If not this one, he could have another. So reckless and shameless. I have to cut off all future trouble. No one can threaten my son's position. He won't be having any more children. Solve the problem at the root. Even if he brings that woman back, it won't stir up any waves. At dinner, Fong Yuanyi actually followed our son into my courtyard. "What are you doing here again?" "Fong Yuanyi, I don't want to argue with you. You can leave now." The moment he appeared, rage surged inside me. I could poison him right then and there. "I have something good to tell Shiai's. I don't have time to argue. Just stay quiet for once." "Something good?" It could only be another scheme to trick Shiai's into helping him rescue his precious Lin Ruoling. Last lifetime, I believed his so-called good news and didn't realize it was a trap. That's how Shiai's ended up dead. This time, no matter how sweet he makes it sound, I won't agree. I gave Chuntao a look, and she understood instantly, bringing over the tea that had been specially prepared. Fong Yuanyi had a habit. He liked drinking tea while eating. That made it easy for me to act. Of course, he suspected nothing and sipped it slowly, savoring it. Once he finished the cup, he got straight to the point. "Shiai's, in a few days, I'll ask to be assigned the task of receiving Princess Chowan. Come with me. You don't have to do anything, just come along. That way, I can request merit on your behalf. Better than staying a scholar with no official rank after your coming of age." The same speech as last time. Sounded like he was planning everything for Shiai's benefit, but it was all empty words. The emperor only agreed to let Fong Yuanyi fetch Lin Ruoling because he wanted to stir things up and then annex the small kingdom. But that little kingdom wasn't stupid either. They planned to use this opportunity to seize a few cities from Shang. Both sides had bad intentions. Once exposed, it would break out into a vicious war. Shiai's had no martial skills. Once he set foot on the battlefield, he couldn't even protect himself. I believed Fong Yuanyi last lifetime because I hadn't seen through him. Even a tiger wouldn't eat its own cub. But he's worse than a beast.
No.
Military merit doesn't come that easily. Don't waste your time dreaming. "Mother, I want to try," Shiai said. "My tutor says I'm not cut out for books. I want to pursue the military path." My son had been lured in by Fong Yuanyi's dream, just like last time. He was determined to follow him into war. "You're average at martial arts. You won't get anywhere as a soldier. At least you're a licentiate now. If you keep working hard, there's still room to rise. The battlefield is full of blades and blood. You won't even be able to protect yourself. One misstep and you'll die. I'm not asking you to make a name for yourself. I just want you safe." I pleaded with everything I had. But my son didn't listen to a word. "Mother, you don't have to worry so much. Isn't father going too? He'll protect me."
So naive.
He had no idea how dangerous war was. He pinned all his hopes on that unreliable father of his. He didn't know that his own father only cared about his sweetheart. Not only wouldn't he protect his son, he'd even use him as a human shield. I don't agree. If you insist on going, you'll have to step over my dead body. Fong Yuanyi slammed the table and glared at me. Lu Huali, you're being completely unreasonable. Your son wants to improve himself, and you threaten him with death. What kind of mother are you? You're holding your son back. Oh. And you, the father, sending a son with no skills into a war zone. What are your intentions? You unreasonable fool. I'm doing this for his own good, and you dare accuse me? Do you really think I'd harm my own child? His face flashed with panic, but quickly turned into anger. You know exactly what you're thinking. You want to go fetch your childhood sweetheart? Fine. But don't you dare drag my son into your mess. Seeing how firm I was, Fong Yuanyi flicked his sleeve and stormed off. I'm willing to go, father. She eyes. My son tried to chase after him, but I stopped him. Mother, what are you doing again? Father and Princess Chowan are innocent. You shouldn't smear them out of jealousy. Mother, you're a woman. You don't understand father's plans. You've only made things worse for me. He scolded me harshly. Every word praised Fong Yuanyi and belittled me. I froze. It was like falling into an icy lake. My grip loosened. I watched as Fong Shiai's chased after Fong Yuanyi. The son I had tried so hard to protect looked at me like that. Could it be that anyone with Fong blood was just cold by nature? Last lifetime, I said yes to Fong Yuanyi's plan right away. None of this happened. I also never saw my son's true colors. But now I see. And I still can't give up. I carried him for 10 months and gave birth to him. How could I let him go so easily? Chuntao, prepare some snacks. I'll go bring them to Shiai's. We were too busy arguing earlier. He didn't eat much. What about the general? Send some freshly made tea cakes over. Can't let him go without his usual. He still wants food? Let him drink his tea of no airs. 4. I brought some pastries with me and headed to Fong Shiai's courtyard. From afar, I noticed all the servants standing outside the courtyard. Inside, the lights were brightly lit, but there wasn't a single person serving him. Who was he guarding against? Something felt off immediately. I circled around through the bamboo grove and entered the courtyard from the back. The bamboo grove faced the study's rear window, and as soon as I stepped in, I heard voices. Father, she won't let me go, and I can't help it. After all, she's my mother in name. In court, filial piety comes first. If I'm not filial, no matter how much military merit I earn, I'll never be trusted. Mother in name? My son just said I'm his mother in name? What is going on? My mind went blank, and a chill ran through me. You want to be her son for life? Be filial to the woman who got your real mother killed. You don't want your mother to enter the Fong family ancestral hall? Don't forget, everything I'm doing is for you. Take this chance to make Fong Shiai's disappear for good. I'll elevate your mother to legal wife, and you'll become the rightful heir. No more playing son to your enemy. The mother Fong Yuanyi mentioned was clearly not me. Fong Shiai's wasn't my son. Then what happened to the child I carried for 10 months? I had no idea how I managed to get back to my room. Once I did, I fell gravely ill. The illness hit me like a landslide and left like pulling silk thread, slow and lingering. Just as I was starting to recover, I heard news that Fong Yuanyi had submitted a request for imperial permission. But I no longer cared about that. I needed to find out what happened to my child. The baby I carried for 10 months was swapped out by these heartless people. I didn't even know whether it was a boy or girl. Was my child still alive? There was no doubt the Fong family was in on the switch. If I wanted to uncover the truth, I had to keep this from them. I had to go back to my brother. This time, I only took Chuntao with me. Just as we left the mansion, I ran into Fong Shiai's. He looked at me with an unpleasant expression. Mother, what now? Do you really want to become a laughingstock? Seeing that face now made me sick. I raised my hand and slapped him. Twice. I carried you for 10 months. I might as well have given birth to a rat. I've been bedridden all this time, and you never once came to see me, let alone serve by my bedside. And the first thing you say is to scold me? You unfilial wretch. Fong Shiai's was completely stunned. He stared at me in disbelief. Get lost. I dragged Chuntao and hurried into the carriage. By the time we arrived at the Liu residence, tears were already streaming down my face. Chuntao didn't know anything and thought I was just angry with Fong Shiai's. Miss, the young master just doesn't understand how much you've done for him. Once he realizes, he'll come apologize for sure. Don't call him young master. He's not my son. I'd been living in a lie. My real child had been switched at birth, their fate unknown. Meanwhile, I foolishly paved the way for the Fong family. What a pathetic woman I was. The whole Fong family must have laughed at my stupidity behind my back. And I was stupid, getting so worked up over fraud that I nearly drove myself to death. Father, you were wrong to ever trust the Fong family.
5.
The only reason the Fong family ever managed to connect with our Liu family was because Fong Yuan's father had saved my father's life. Without that tie, my father would never have allowed me to marry Fong Yuan, who at the time was just a commoner. He believed Fong's father to be a man of integrity and thought any family raised by him must be a good one. Add to that his high hopes for Fong Yuan's future. He believed he had great potential, and so he arranged our marriage. After Fong's father passed away, the entire Fong family moved into the house my father had prepared for them. Fong Yuan was vile and stupid, but he had decent martial skills and a quick mind. After being placed in the military, he quickly distinguished himself in battle and was eventually granted the title of General Zhongwu and given an estate. That was when the Fong family began to rise. And it was also when their attitude toward me began to change. After my father's death, they no longer bothered to hide their disdain. Did they think my brother, as the head of the Liu family, wouldn't care what happened to me just because I was married off? In my past life, when Fong Yuan brought Lin Ruoling home, my brother had come to urge me to divorce and return home. But I insisted on staying to help Fong Shiai seek revenge, which led to me offending the legitimate princess backing Lin Ruoling and dragging the Liu family into disaster. My brother had no choice but to resign from his post and take the entire family into seclusion. This time, I won't let that happen. My brother and the Liu family must stay safe. Little sister who bullied you? After 2 lifetimes, I saw my brother again. Brother, the Fong family has ruined me. He's the only family I have left. I had no reason to hide the truth. I told him everything about my previous life, about what the Fong family had done. He was furious. Do they think the Liu family is powerless? That they could trample on you like this? I'll take care of finding your son. Dead or alive, I'll bring him back. What do you plan to do next? The Fong family is shameless. Don't you dare go soft. The world needs to see their true faces. When Lin Ruoling returns, I'll divorce Fong Yuan. Brother, the Fong family isn't the real threat. It's the people backing Lin Ruoling that matter most. Back then, Lin Ruoling went as a stand-in for Princess Fuan in a political marriage. Now that she's returned, Fuan will definitely support her. Alone, she's not a big problem, but she's the crown prince's biological sister. If he takes the throne, we won't be able to make a move. In my past life, the crown prince took the throne a month after Lin Ruoling returned. Everyone in power sided with Lin Ruoling and Fong Yuan. Naturally, my brother and the Liu family stood no chance. Otherwise, offending one princess wouldn't have been enough to force the Liu family to retreat. Our influence was far too strong. I've long since pledged my allegiance to the third prince. His Majesty favors him as well. It's just that the crown prince hasn't made any major mistakes yet, so there's no excuse to depose him. So, my brother was already involved in the battle for succession. That must have contributed to his downfall in the previous life. But His Majesty was in good health. How did he suddenly die? As long as the old emperor lived, the crown prince had no chance of ascending the throne. The crown prince was mediocre, dull, and only liked to paint. An emperor who bends whichever way the wind blows is no good for the people. only for the schemers who surround him. 6. Little sister, you don't need to worry about these things. With the information you've given me, I'll handle everything on my end. You just focus on dealing with the Fong family. If you need people or money, just say the word. Do whatever makes you happy. All right. I won't let them get away with it. The Fong family played me like a fool. If I just swallowed it and did nothing, wouldn't it be a disgrace to our Lusher clan from Fanyang? With everything planned out, I returned to the Fong residence in high spirits. As soon as I got back, someone from the old madam's courtyard came calling. No need to guess, it was definitely Fong Shiai's running off to tattle. In the past, I always treated that old madam with care, giving her everything she wanted. But now, I had no interest in pleasing her anymore. I'm not going. I treated them like family, and they treated me like a fool. After returning to my courtyard, I told Chuntao to hand the account books over to the old madam. Everything I'd prepared for her was top quality, yet she always found something to nitpick. While Fong Yuanyi was off picking up Lin Ruoling, I planned to fall seriously ill. Whoever wanted to take on this mess of a Fong family could have it. That sister-in-law of mine, Fong Miaoi, who was always clamoring to be in charge, definitely wouldn't let this chance slip by. I'd like to see how she plans to support this whole family without my dowry. Relying solely on Fong Yuanyi's pitiful salary. What's she going to wear? Gold and silver? Chuntao, go collect all the servant contracts. If anyone steps out of line, sell them off immediately. I held all the servant contracts in the Fong household. The Fong family never even realized that, which actually worked out well for me. Lahwali, you made my mother faint from anger, and you still have the nerve to rest? Get over there and apologize to her now. Fong Miaoi barged into my courtyard with Fong Shiai's in tow, yelling and cursing at me. The more she talked, the nastier she got, but I didn't care. Fong Miaoi, no wonder prince and wouldn't even let you be a concubine. With your vulgar mouth, even a beggar passing by wouldn't spare you a second glance. And you still dream of marrying the young heir of the Sun family? Dream on. Fong Miaoi had no real skills. Her only goal was to marry into a noble family. But every man she set her sights on was someone the Fong family could never hope to reach. If it weren't for me scheming for her in my past life, she never would have landed Sun Shitzi. And how did she repay me? She tried to use my dowry and even released a venomous snake to bite me. If I hadn't been blessed with good fortune, I would have died from her plot long before they could anger me to death. The entire Fong family is full of vicious, black-hearted people. I won't spare a single one of them. Mother, how could you say that about Auntie? Fong Shiais, who had been hoping to enjoy the show, immediately jumped in to defend Fong Miaoi. And what makes you think you're any better? I hired 7 tutors for you, including 2 great scholars, yet with that blockhead of yours, you barely scraped by as a Shiotsai even after 20 years of study. You couldn't succeed in the civil exams, and now you want to try the military? Calling your martial skills average is being generous. You're a complete failure, useless in both civil and martial pursuits. But Shiais is your son. How can you say that about him? Fong Miaoi still had the nerve to speak up for Fong Shiais? Her fiancé would soon be coming to break off the engagement. And without the Sun family's backing, her dream of marrying up would completely shatter. I'm not feeling well. Please leave. Chuntao, see them out. Mother, I must follow father to the battlefield. Even if you fake being sick, you can't stop me. Do whatever you want. That infertility tea I gave was potent. Fong Yuanyi won't be having any more children. And Fong Shiais is his only son. I'm already looking forward to it. When Fong Yuanyi finds out that because of his own actions, his family line ends with him, will he be so furious that he drops dead on the spot? 7. Fong Yuanyi couldn't stop thinking about Lin Ruoling. He didn't even glance at his mother, who was faking an illness, just took Fong Shiais and left. The moment they left the capital, my informant came to report. I told my brother to send some men over while I transported my dowry out first. Now that the Fong family is under my control, I don't want them to find out. And they won't. After selling off that servant, the rest became much more obedient. I was too soft-hearted before. Without my dowry, The Fong family's remaining assets were quickly depleted. The master had no money to spend and couldn't even pay the monthly wages. Fong Miaoi barged into my courtyard again, shouting, "Lu Huali, where's the money in the accounts?" Fong Yuan's salary was all spent. That's it. What about the rest besides my brother's salary? What rest? The money from your shops and estates? That's my dowry. What does it have to do with you? You married into the Fong family. What's the big deal about using some of your dowry? I immediately had Chuntao throw her out. And that was just the beginning. She already couldn't take it. When the Lu family comes to break off the engagement, Fong Miaoi might just try to kill herself. But I hadn't expected that when the Lu family came to call off the marriage, Fong Xiai's actually returned alive. He was carried back. Seeing his condition, the Lu family couldn't go through with the breakup at such a time. But Fong Xiai's was miserable. If it weren't for Fong Yuan's personal guards, I'd have thought it was a scam. Who knows what happened to Fong Xiai's? His face was ruined, and his leg was broken. When I went to see him, he was delirious and incoherent. I even hired an incompetent doctor on purpose to treat him. Wouldn't want him to actually recover. Since Fong Xiai's came back, Fong Yuan must be returning soon too. My brother's plan had to move ahead. The crown prince kept making mistakes, driving court officials to side with someone more capable. And the biggest beneficiary of all this was the third prince. Now all that was needed was a trigger to make deposing the crown prince completely justified. "Miss, the old madam wants to see you." "She's done pretending to be sick?" This time, I didn't avoid her and went to see her. The moment I stepped inside, a porcelain bottle came flying at my face. I dodged quickly to avoid getting hurt. If mother doesn't want to see me, I'll take my leave. Trying to control me again? She ought to consider whether her frail old bones can handle it. "Lu Huali, come back here. Are you trying to anger your mother to death?" Fong Miaoi was the first to lose her temper. Only then did I step inside. The moment the old madam saw me, her face turned sour. In the past, I would try every way to win her favor. Now, I just sat down and ignored her attitude. I wasn't the one desperate. "Lu Huali, are you trying to drive me to my grave?" She slammed her teacup down and questioned me coldly. "Whatever do you mean, mother?" "Miaoi's engagement. Have you been paying any attention? Why haven't we heard anything from the heir of the Sun family?" I didn't go. Of course there's no news. Forget the heir of the Sun family. Even young Master Lu was out of the picture. You promised me before. This is how you handle things. You've completely ruined Miaoi's marriage prospects. Mother, she's the sister of a fourth-rank general. The heir of a duke's house looks down on that. What can I do? Forget the duke's house. Even the Lu family, ranked 5th, wants nothing to do with her. Where exactly should I send her? You. The old madam was so angry she fainted. Perfect excuse for me to leave.
8.
As soon as Fong Yuan and Lin Ruoling entered the city gates, I received word. I immediately released the deed contracts for all the servants. Then I took Chuntao and returned to the Lu residence. Let Fong Yuan clean up his own mess in the Fong household. Back home, I stayed in the courtyard I lived in before marriage. My brother had already informed my sister-in-law of my return, and she, fond of me, had no objections. I wanted for nothing here. But the Fong family, they were in dire straits. With all the servants gone, the Fong residence was just an empty shell. When Fong Yuan returned with Lin Ruoling, he was stunned. After Fong Miaoi and the old madam exaggerated things for him, he settled Lin Ruoling in and stormed straight to the Lu residence, only to be stopped at the door. My brother handed him a divorce paper right then and there. "Lu Wenjin, what's the meaning of this?" "Fong Yuan, while my sister was giving birth, you used your illegitimate son to swap out my nephew and left him to die in the mountains with no remains. Out of respect for your late father's sacrifice, I'm letting you off. But you'd better sign this divorce paper now. If not, you and your entire family can enjoy a reunion in prison." My brother exposed the truth right in public, leaving Fong Yuan no room for lies. Frightened, Fong Yuanyi didn't dare argue and signed immediately. Beat him and throw him out. My brother ordered his men to drive him off. The moment Fong Yuanyi returned to the Fong residence, the truth about the divorce spread throughout the city. And since he came back from a lost battle, the Fong family's reputation hit rock bottom. The one who suffered most was Fong Miaoyi. After the Liu family quickly broke off the engagement, all her past scandals were dragged up again. She once begged Prince and to let her be a concubine, then claimed to be the heir of the Sun family's future wife. Now everyone avoided her like the plague. Not long after the rumors started, they suddenly disappeared. Because the Fong family gained favor thanks to Lin Ruoling and became honored guests of Princess Fuan. At a banquet, the princess even defended the Fong family, claiming Lu Huali of the Liu clan in Fanyang, was the one being unreasonable. She might have silenced the gossip, but she couldn't control what people truly thought. Princess Fuan and the crown prince were one and the same. Her actions naturally reflected on the crown prince. If a princess couldn't distinguish right from wrong, and the crown prince did nothing to rein her in, only indulged her, then once he held full power, the people would be nothing to him. Public opinion had completely turned to the third prince. He had talent, compassion, and the emperor's support. How could the crown prince be a match? Yet some people still failed to see the situation clearly. At the mid-autumn banquet in the palace, Princess Fuan brought me up in front of everyone once again. Lu Huali, today I shall be your mediator. You and General Fong have shared a bed for years. Must you divorce over such a small matter? If General Fong apologizes, you should reconcile. Just one reconcile, and all their sins are to be washed away. How noble! If Fong Yuanyi can bring my son back to life, then I'll forgive him. Even with my mediation? Princess Fuan wanted to flaunt her loyalty and feelings at the expense of others. Since Fong Yuanyi plans to marry Princess Chaoan, how could I interfere? Chaoan will be the wife, but you can stay in the residence too. No need to divorce. I am a daughter of the Liu clan of Fanyang. I will never be anyone's concubine, especially not a cast-off wife demoted to concubine. Such audacity! She really wanted me to become Fong Yuanyi's concubine. No matter how arrogant the Liu clan is, can it defy imperial power? If I insist you become General Fong's concubine? That's what I'd been waiting for. While pretending to wipe tears, I bit down on the blood pouch I'd hidden in my mouth. I'd rather die. I bit through it and collapsed. Let my brother and the others do the rest. But just as I fell, a real wave of blood rose in my throat, and I blacked out.
9.
I didn't wake up until 5 days later. Chundao told me what had happened. I'd been poisoned. Because I got too emotional, the poison flared up. So in my past life, I didn't die from rage alone. It was the poison that took me, triggered by my emotions. Why was I poisoned? I asked. Miss, they gave you a wooden bed soaked in poison vine. If we hadn't found out in time, no medicine could have saved you. Even without Lin Ruoling, the Fong family would never have let me live in peace. Old Madame Fong took the blame for Fong Yuanyi. She died of fright the moment she was sent to the Court of Judicial Review. That whole Fong family was a nest of snakes and rats. With Princess Fuan and the Crown Prince losing favor, they lost their power too. The Crown Prince was deposed and given the title Prince Ning. Banished to the northwest, the poorest and most remote part of the empire. You could tell how much the old emperor disliked his legitimate son. He didn't like him but still saved him some face. Princess Fuan wasn't so lucky. Her prince consort was demoted and sent to Lizhou to serve as a minor county magistrate, forbidden from ever getting promoted again. She was expelled from the capital and barred from returning. Without Princess Fuan, the real princess, Lin Ruoling, the fake one in name only, lost her power too. Gone was her arrogance from the last life. She tried to follow Fong Yuanyi to the battlefield. Fong Yuanyi had done every evil imaginable. The only reason the old emperor kept him alive was because he needed him for war. Good generals were rare. He couldn't afford to waste one. I even went to see them off when they left the city. When I saw the slight swell of Lin Ruoling's belly, I understood why Fong Yuanyi no longer cared about Fong Xiai's. But how could he be sure that the child was really his? If not his, then whose? Did Lin Ruoling return to Shang Kingdom in her past life with a hidden agenda? But I died too early in that life to know what happened afterward. All I could do was warn my brother and tell him to stay vigilant. 10. And I was right to worry. Fong Yuanyi betrayed the country for Lin Ruoling. Thankfully, we'd been prepared. They were captured on the road and would arrive in the capital soon. The first to suffer from his betrayal were Fong Miaoyi and Fong Xiai's. They were dragged straight to execution. Before the blade fell, Fong Miaoyi was still shouting about being the heir's wife. Compared to her madness, Fong Xiai's was much quieter. She had poisoned his throat long ago. Fong Miaoyi had poured all her rage onto him. He didn't have a patch of good skin left. Death was a release. The blood on the execution platform hadn't even dried before Fong Yuanyi and Lin Ruoling arrived. Lin Ruoling tried to use her unborn child as leverage, convinced her beloved would come save her. But he didn't care at all. Once the plan was exposed, he immediately cut ties. She was abandoned. When I went to see her in prison, her belly, once swollen, had shriveled. Her whole body reeked. Lin Ruoling, because of you, your entire family has been exiled. Is this what you wanted? She was ruthless. For her lover, she didn't care whether her family lived or died. Fong Yuanyi had only ever been a pawn to her. It had all been part of a plan she and her lover cooked up. In my past life, no one uncovered the scheme. After the useless crown prince took the throne, thanks to his ties to Princess Fuan and Lin Ruoling, Fong Yuanyi must have risen in rank. They probably succeeded in stealing the country. It's your fault. Why didn't you follow the plot in the book? Because of you, our plan failed. It's all your fault. The moment Lin Ruoling saw me, she lunged at me. But all she could do was reach for me. She couldn't do anything else. The plot in the book? What do you mean? Her words were strange. You side characters were supposed to be written out already. Why are you still here? I'm the female lead. I'll be Empress. Yunlang and I will be together forever. From her words, I finally understood the truth about this world. We were living in a book. Lin Ruoling and her Yunlang, Yun, were the main characters. In the story, Yun's small nation eventually conquered Shang Kingdom. Lin Ruoling got her wish and became Empress. Fong Yuanyi, the second male lead, became her loyal dog, a war general who devoted his life to her. And I was the original wife who died early to make way for her. Yes, you won, I said. But I was the one who got to live again. You so-called protagonists trample over everyone else for your happy ending. Didn't you deserve to lose? What did I do wrong? Why should I live a life of lies, being toyed with by them? Even the grace my father received from Fong Yuanyi had been part of their scheme. And in my past life, I paid with my entire future. Was that fair to me? 11. Lin Ruoling, Yun never loved you. To him, you were just a pawn to gain power, because you could keep Fong Yuanyi under control. You treated Fong Yuanyi like a dog. Yun did the same to you. Whatever is gained through lies will eventually be lost to lies. If Yun truly loved her, would he have abandoned her so easily? He was just using the Empress title to trap a useful puppet. Lin Ruoling was even more pitiful. For the sake of her so-called destiny as the heroine, she sacrificed her whole family and bet her entire life. Was it worth it? What do you know? Yunlang loves me. So, what if you married his father first? Or had something with Fong Yuanyi? No, he loves me. I did everything for him. He has to love me. She was obsessed with proving Yun's love, but there was no proof. She went mad. She bashed her head against the wall and died. Then, I went to see Fong Yuanyi. Compared to Lin Ruoling's miserable state, he actually seemed a bit relaxed, like he'd stolen a moment of peace. Fong Yuanyi. You came. He didn't seem surprised to see me. Lin Ruoling is dead. She can't be. You're lying. Whenever he heard her name, he got agitated. Not just her. You'll be next. The Fong bloodline you care about so much, it's gone. Doesn't that make you happy? Oh, and by the way, the child Lin Ruoling was carrying wasn't yours. I drugged you long ago. You were never going to have children. What did Fong Yuanyi care about the most? Lin Ruoling. Once he heard that, all his calm disappeared. He'd traded intelligence on Murong Yun in exchange for freedom, but that was a lie. Whether they spoke or not, their fate was already sealed. Traitors die. I was wrong, Huali. Please get me out of here. I don't want to die like this. Fong Yuanyi knelt and kowtowed at my feet over and over, begging for his life. You should have thought about that earlier. When you killed my child, did you consider he was your own? Did you leave him any mercy? My brother went through hell to find my child's remains. They were covered in bite marks from wild beasts. The pain my child endured, I'll make you pay 1,000-fold. The new crown prince granted me the right to execute Fong Yuanyi. I brought 20 vicious dogs into his cell. By the time the screaming stopped, all that remained was a pile of bloody bones. The end.